And with a couple of key playmakers, they've got some experience in this team, which is going to be key as well. Let's see if they can convert the 5 to 7. It's the perfect start they would have needed in this East against East derby. It's the East Rand up against East London. That one goes just left of the uprights. So it's going to be a 5-0 lead for the Selborne boys. And they'll be more than happy with that. There's a real chemistry going on in that 9-10 combination for Selborne between Mitch Connellan and David Kutzer, and I suspect a lot of their success and their ability to unleash the backline is going to go from that. Referee for this game is Graziano Pinar, part of the very strong contingent of referees from the KZN Rugby Ref Society who are officiating at this year's Rugby Festival. Ball hanging beautifully in the windy conditions here at Kearsney College for day one of the festival. Ball's going forward, setup is beautiful. Connellan whips it out down to the blind side, and there's an opportunity. The ball's gone slightly forward. Pinar's picked that up, so it's going to be scrum down to Jansen. An opportunity for there to see if they can making some inroads and start asserting themselves on this game. They've had to do a little bit of rejigging as well at number 10, because I see Dylan Swartz is starting for them. Their regular fly half now sitting on the bench, so I'm not quite sure what the reason for that is, but let's hope that it's not going to be too much of a disruption for the boys from Boksburg. Leslie October, their scrum half, waiting to put in the ball. So 5 meters in on the 10 of Selborne College. Jansen a little bit shell-shocked by that early blitz from Selborne College. Ball goes in neatly, and refs decides that's not in straight. And this is one of the great talking points of the game at the moment, because I think a lot of the public perception is that the blowing of the ball going under the hooker's feet or straight, not going straight, is a very contentious one. But it is relief for Selborne College. They recycle the ball, got numbers down the blind side, decide to carry it up. Jansen doing what they do best and bullying at the breakdown, pushing the Selborne boys back. Ball coming back, they manage to slow it. That's exactly what they want. They decide to kick for territory. Down the touchline they go. October's the man who feels it. But referees decided that they were offside, and penalty relief for the Selborne boys. So they're 8 meters into their own half, 5 meters in. What are they going to decide to do with this? Is this going to be a territory touch finder? Ball gets flipped out to their skipper, David Kutzer. See if he can win some real estate. Ball gets safely put down into touch. So Selborne with a put in 5 meters into the Jansen half of the field. Selborne will be pleased with the start of the game.
They will, and I think we can expect them to, as much as they like to run the ball around, when you've got the likes of Stefan Evenhuizen at number 5, 1.95 meters tall. Ironically, the set piece is a traditional strength of Jansen, but Selborne won't be scared to kick for corners here.
So Jansen with the ball. They decide they're going to run it. Long looping pass. They've got a 2-on-1 outside there. There's the overlap. Can they make it work? Touchline is going to win this one. AR's got his flag up on the open stand. Match 2 on day 1 of this year's Standard Bank Kearsney Easter Rugby Festival. It's cool, slightly muggy. It's probably in the mid to upper 20s right now. There is a wind, which is going to be a factor. Remember, for those of you that are familiar with the situation here at Kearsney College, Stotfield is right on the top of Borders Hill, so any weather arriving into the Greater Durban area tends to be fairly exposed here at Stotfield. And if the weather does start getting a little bit inclement, it's not unusual to see the mist rolling in the left-hand touchline. It's a good touch finder right to the top of that open stand. It's going to earn them a line out about 3 or 4 meters outside of the Jansen 22. It's all happening today. Ref Pinar is now slowing the game down to try and buy himself a little bit of time to retread himself. Left boot has come off. Full contingent of refs and ARs in a specially designed kit. The sponsor, Standard Bank, providing luminous pink, black and white kit for the refs. I know they're very proud of that. It's an appointment they actually look forward to. Most people would look at an Easter long weekend off. The local refs really clamour at the opportunity to get nominated for these games. It's an opportunity for them to get some exposure as well and get some really good guidance on how their game is doing. It's a messy recycled ball from Selborne. It does get back to Kutzer. Kutzer decides to take it himself, looks for the gap. The offload is beautiful. It goes straight into the hands of Adam Mountford. He scores under the poles. Try number 4 for Selborne. The floodgates are beginning to open.
Absolutely, and you would expect Jansen to target Kutzer after the initial rush of tries and the threat that he poses as a danger man for Selborne, and what they've done as a team is potentially use them as a decoy to draw as many defenders as possible, and any player on his shoulder is likely to find a half gap.
Yeah, well, you nailed it there. The running into space and the running off the attacker with the ball is exactly where Selborne is managing to just chisel holes into this Eeghe Jansen defence. Mountford ran a fantastic line. A great opportunist push by Kutzer to see if he could find a gap. He found a half gap, and that's Kutzer who bangs over the conversion. So now that lead is starting to balloon ominously now. It's 26 duck to the East London boys. Ball goes up to their hooker Fenter, who looks for gap, recycles it beautifully back to Mountford, the try scorer. Bit of a messy pass, but they managed to hang on to that. Referees decided that the penalty is going the way of Eeghe Jansen, and they've got to kick for touch here. They've got to get themselves back into the game. There's no point in using this as a three-pointer, and that's exactly what they do. Goes back to Van Eerden, who's going to be kicking. Goes back to Fourie at least, the centre who's been entrusted with the fly-half responsibilities here. He's going to try and get that as close to the corner flag. He gets halfway into the 22, so it'll be a put in. The AR is now walking ominously close to that 22-metre line, so a metre. They're looking to set up a rolling maul here. They managed to get some rumble. That's exactly what they were hoping to do. Selborne getting down low to try and counter that. They've managed to split the Eeghe Jansen pack, and they've stopped the rolling maul. That's great defence by Selborne. Frustration for the Eeghe Jansen boys is back to October, and then into the hands of Schwartz. No progress being made by the Eeghe Jansen backline. Looking for quick ball. Ball comes back to Van Eerden. Van Eerden flips it out, but again there's no plan. There's no momentum. Zero gain. That's the net product of that phase for the Eeghe Jansen boys. And Selborne are countering and have stolen it on the ground. Super work by the East London boys. And they're looking to counter with just 4 minutes to go to half time in this first half. Selborne looking to capitalise on it, but the Ref Pino has decided that they were guilty of not releasing the ball and discipline. Selborne will be frustrated. They're all over this game. There's no need to lose their cool right now. And there's a yellow card, I suspect, for chatter and counter-attack. Deliberate knockdown is the call from referee Pino. And Selborne are going to be playing the remaining 3 minutes and the first 7 minutes of the second half down to 14. So they're going to need to reorganise, and since they've lost a forward, Eeghe Jansen have quite rightly called the scrum. Now this is an opportunity that they desperately need to take advantage of. There's got to be a set piece in mind.
Absolutely, and big Mark Fencer just guilty of slapping the ball down there when Jansen tried to take the quick tap. Cynical play. For Jansen, change in tactic is pretty clear. It has to be on the cards. And my thinking is that they need to attack the breakdown. They're allowing Selborne to set the tempo, and centre field ball, perfect ball to attack from. Let's see what they do here.
Remember, it's a 7-on-7 situation here because the Selborne player has been sent off. So there's parity in the scrums, but there's an opportunity out wide. There definitely is an overlap opportunity for Eeghe Jansen here, but great defence from Selborne, pulling that attack down 12 metres out from the line. Super counter-attack tackle from the Selborne backline. So slow ball. October looks to the blind side. Ball goes up to MacArthur. He doesn't make much headway. The Selborne attack, even though they're a man, the defence holding solid. Just a metre out from the right-hand touchline. Ball's going to have to come to open side play. October looks to the big traffic once again. They managed to make a metre or two, but Selborne holding true. October with the ball. It's a low, messy pass, and it's a knock on. That'll be frustrating. October's been a live wire. He's clearly one of the playmakers in this Eeghe Jansen team, but you can see he's frustrated at not being able to get a clean pass out to Schwartz, who's been entrusted with their number 10 responsibilities. And of course they're a man down now, so Selborne are clearly going to try and slow this game down for the duration of being down to 14. So just less than 2 minutes to go to the turn here, and it's still a 25-0 lead over Eeghe Jansen. Just for those of you catching up with it, a handsome win in the first game today from HTS Drotsdi from Worcester, who put the home team here, Kearsney, to the sword pretty much. Frustrating for Kearsney as the hosts here. They always attract a big crowd opening the game on day one, so they're going to have to regroup and pull themselves together. So scrum time. Minute and a half to go. Attacking scrum. It's a 7-on-7 scrum once again. Eeghe Jansen. Knock-on, frustrating knock-on. So an opportunity for Selborne to slow the game down, wind down the clock at the end of this first half. They'll be thrilled with a 25-0 lead at the end of the end stages of this first half. Scrum is going to have to be reset. This big Eeghe Jansen pack. will be looking to make the numbers count, certainly during the 7 minutes of the opening stanza of the second half, when they'll have that extra man advantage. But it's Mitch Connellan who's got the put in. Taps his hooker on the shoulder. It's a great clean ball, quick ball. Comes out to Ndensa. Not the cleanest of exit strategies from Selborne here. Some chat going to be happening between the AR and referee Pino. Half time. Whistle goes slightly early according to the stopwatch here, but it's a 25-0 lead that Selborne will be over the moon with.
Absolutely, and the Jansen coaching staff will certainly look to the attitudes and the body language of their players in the second half. They've really got to come out firing, and to have any chance in this match, they need to score first after the break.
So time for a huddle and a retool, I suspect. That's going to be what's on the mind of the Jansen coaching staff here. They were certainly relying on their big men to do the bullying in the midfield, and hasn't happened. So it's half time here. Match 2 of the Standard Bank Kearsney Easter Rugby Festival, and it's a 25-0 lead for the Selborne boys over Jansen.
For those social media friends, there is free Wi-Fi courtesy of Celsius. So if you would like to go to social media and share your photos and your memories from today, free Wi-Fi is sponsored by Celsius.
Your mic working? Every time they try and fix it, they tell me to go back and share it.
Okay, guys. Let's play. Turn it up. Come on. Turn it up. Get it going, going. 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 Turn it up.
Kamu, supper time.
I thought this was a day-night game.
Nah, it's T20.
Where there's a will, there's cricket. Proud sponsor of the Proteas. Standard Bank, moving forward.
So everybody, welcome back to Stotfield at Kearsney College, day one of the Standard Bank Kearsney Easter Rugby Festival, and match two, the showdown from the Eastern Cape team, Selborne College from East London up against the Boksburg-based Jansen, and it's a 24-0 lead for Selborne over Jansen. However, Selborne start the second half down to 14 with hooker Mark Fenter sitting in the naughty chair after having been sent off 3 minutes from half time. So 7 minutes of this half, this 30-minute half, it's going to be Selborne down to 14 men as David Kutzer, the fly half, gets the game underway, and it's a messy start for the Selborne boys. The Ref Pino has decided that the ball didn't carry 10, so they're going to come back to a scrum, and it's in Jansen put in spot on in the middle of the field. And Jansen hopefully looking at a slightly revised game plan, because if you had to assess the first half for Jansen, it was a bit of a fail. They're going to have to retool, particularly given that there is a clear sort of breakdown of communication happening between 12 and 13, and with a retooled fly half, a game plan rejigged for Jansen.
Well, plan A is clearly not working. They're not going to be able to run over the Selborne backline. They're possibly going to have to win a few turnovers, but unforced errors like that's not going to help their cause.
And there's a lot of frustration evident in these Jansen boys. So it's going to be a line out 3 meters in the Jansen half of the field. And Selborne down to 14 at this stage. Selborne line out has been a mess. They'll be frustrated that they haven't been able to nail their set piece come line out time. And remember, you've got a prop doing the put in here because your hooker's in the naughty chair. So it's Luke Delbach entrusted with the line-out put-in duties here, and he's got to go back to basics here. He's got to try and nail Andre Rust at number 2, and that's exactly what he does, but Rust butchers the catch. So that's 3 missed line-outs from Selborne. They've got some big, tall men there, but they are really not getting that line-out working. They do manage to recycle the ball. It goes back to Kutzer. He's unable to get the ball away. Remember, they got those exciting 12 and 13 that are just looking for space and time to show what they can do. It's Kutzer, manages to find the man we were talking about, Ndamisa. Kutlani has got it. That's the danger we were talking about. Selborne on the attack. They're 10 metre out, close to the right-hand touchline. Recycling the ball. It's good, quick ball. Sniping around the fringes. They're now 7 metres out. Selborne on the attack now. Can they add to that 24 points? It's a long ball recycled out to Delbach. Delbach feeds the ball out. And here's the gap. It's left wing Denisa. Africa and Denisa. Africa and Denisa and Selborne look like they're continuing the second half the same way as they finished the first.
Absolutely. The tempo they're playing at is just something that Jansen can't keep up with. And at the very least, Jansen are going to have to work on slowing down the ball at the breakdown to just prevent Selborne from getting that impetus. And as it stands, Jansen are just going backwards at a rate of knots, and they're going to have to slow the pace of the game.
Heads here in the Selborne team as well. You can see that David Kutzer at 10 is in absolutely no rush to take this conversion. They've done enough to win this game. And a cool head and an experienced player who's maybe been through festivals like this before, where you're playing 3 big games in 5 days, will realise that they've done enough to get across the line here. So slowing the pace down and making sure you get through this match with the minimum of injuries and with enough gas left in the tank. Keep your matches dry for the 5 days of this festival. Makes a lot of sense. So a lot of composure from David Kutzer. His attempted conversion goes right of the right hand upright. So some changes coming to this Jansen lineup here. And it's Wesley Nuth who's coming on in jersey 19. Interesting call actually, because it's the big men that have been the one area where Jansen have been able to at least have parity and try and assert themselves. So they're making changes to that scrum. Jansen with a kickoff. Is that one going to carry 10? It does. And it's a knock-on from Selborne there. Advantage to Jansen. Jansen's Venter carries it up. Out to the back line. There's Van Eerden, the fullback, looking to try and punch a hole in the Selborne defence. It doesn't work, but there's a high tackle rule by referee Pienaar there. An opportunity for Jansen to set up an attacking platform. They're 7 or 8 metres out of the Selborne 22. And they're kicking for the touchline. They trail by 29, and that's the right call. If they want to try and salvage any dignity and boost morale at this stage, they've got to put together an attacking phase. The Selborne line-out is creaking a little bit, so Jansen must have a set phase planned here. And a school like Kearsney Jansen will have a tradition of set phases. In fact, schools build up a tradition of those classic set phases. You're 5 meters out. Kearsney Jansen, ball goes to number 2. They're going to set up the rolling maul. It's what worked them last time. Sprawling out the right-hand side of that rolling maul. Pick and go. They're a meter out. So number 19, Nuthu, who came within a meter of the line. Another charge. 4 goes over. It's a crawl. A second move, MacArthur goes over. So a try, and a desperately needed try for Kearsney Jansen. Dominique MacArthur getting the try. Dive for the lie. Might have been a little second move there, but they decided that was a place, not a second movement, and a desperately needed try for Kearsney Jansen.
Absolutely, and the way that Selborne will react to this will say a lot in terms of the attitudes of the boys. Will they take their foot off the gas? Will they relax a bit? They clearly can't give Jansen a gap. For Jansen, they're a proud school. They're not a school that's used to these sort of score lines. So you can bet they'll carry on coming back at them and to give the score line a bit of respectability.
And just look what it's done for the Kearsney Jansen boys. Suddenly the heads are up. The shoulders were definitely dropping at the end of that first half. And they've suddenly got a reason to believe coaches no doubt reminded them that if they want to win this game and they want to get close, they're going to have to use their big men up front. And great conversion using the wind and curling it in on the right hand upright. So it's a 7-pointer to open the count for Kearsney Jansen. 29 to Selborne, 7 to Kearsney Jansen. 25 minutes left to run in this match. So will that be enough to turn this game around? It'll be a spectacular comeback if they can do it. So Selborne College, David Kutzer to resume this game. Puts the ball up high. Goes into the hands of Nuth, who's made a real impact since he's come on as a substitute. So Selborne conceding possession. Kearsney Jansen right in the middle of the field. Kearsney Jansen exit strategy. All bunted comfortably into the grandstand. And again, they'll be looking to the line-out, which has been functioning.
Absolutely, and the Selborne line-out's been shaky at the best of times. It's a strength of Jansen, and they'll definitely be looking to play a bit of a territory game, get into the 22 of Selborne, and if they can carry on exerting pressure there, they can quite easily get back into this game with a couple more scores.
Great work from Grant Mayer at the base of that ruck. Ball going down the right. Selborne looking so dangerous, looking for opportunities there. Connellan, absolute nuisance around the base of the scrum. Connellan with that ball once again goes back to Kutzer. Goes forward to Fenter. He manages to regain it in the tackle. Refs decided that wasn't a lock on. That's good work, good composure from the guy regaining it in the tackle. Punches it through, looking for a gap. Big Luke Dalbach, the man putting all the pressure on them, but Kearsney Jansen managed to recycle that. And there's a desperation to that as they crack that over the touchline. They kick that out on the full, so they're going to go all the way to a meter outside their 22. And lack of composure from the Kearsney Jansen boys here. Some cool heads needed. Possibly speaks to the amount of experience they've got in some quarters of their team. But it's going to be a Selborne put in 5 or 6 meters out from the Kearsney Jansen 22. Good news is they've got Mark Fenter back on the field. So let's see if they can restore a semblance of stability to their line-out. Goes back to 3. It's a great solid ball. That's much more like it from the Selborne boys. Goes to Kutzer. He feeds it up to big Adam Mountford, the try scorer, but he coughs it forward. So the referee's going to be looking for some sort of advantage from this. Selborne managed to regain it, and it's advantage Selborne 5 meters out. They're going to come back for the penalty. Referee Pino's awarded the penalty to Selborne. 5 or 6 meters outside of the 22, slap in front. So what do they decide to do here? Do they extend that lead? And given the way that Kutzer was slowing this game down, he might well opt to put this one straight towards poles, and that's exactly what he does. Referee Pino indicates to his ARs that they've got a canter from the sidelines to behind the poles. And Selborne looking to regain control, far more than just add 3 points to their total here. They're looking to regain control of this game. There was definite momentum swing back in the Kearsney Jansen boys' favour. What Kutsa as captain and as place kicker has decided to do is just want to slow this game down and regain control. So the right boot of David Kutsa looking to push that Selborne total into the 30s. Blustery, windy conditions here at Kearsney. It might not be that obvious. You can see as autumn's approaching, the leaves are falling off the trees, and that'll give you a sense of how the wind is changing. Kutsa bangs this one right down the middle. Rock solid looking kick, so it'll take the score to 32 to Selborne and 7 to Jansen. The Jansen forwards trotting down to the halfway line. And let's see what Selborne can do to get this one back into their favour. Dylan Swartz with the ball in hand. Real intensity from the Selborne forwards. Regain that beautifully into the hands of Grant Meyer. Solid looking ball. Goes back to Mitchell Collinen into Kutsa's hands. Looking for the big men to carry it up in that channel too. Demisa, the try scorer, gesturing on the outside, but it goes instead out to Kutlane. Amlashe looking very strong as well. It's an exciting looking 12-13 combination that Selborne have got. Let's hope they get a chance to use it. Back into Kutsa's hand. Great composure. Knock regathered, but the ball is being held up. Back it goes. Selborne on the counter-attack. They've got numbers here. Can they move it wise? Try scorer in Demisa looking for the ball, but he doesn't get it. Instead he goes over. Bridging back to Connellan. Robenheimer playing a significant role at first receiver from Connellan. There's a real buzz about the Selborne backline, and the more opportunities they give them, the better they're getting.
Absolutely, and Jansen not helping their own calls by giving away a few penalties and just giving Selborne even more momentum here as the number 9 for Selborne looking a bit under the weather, but when you're almost 30 points up, these knocks tend to be secondary in your thinking.
I trust Connellan's going to be okay. That chemistry between Kutsa and Connellan is key to certainly unlocking the potential in their backline. Kutsa doing a fantastic job of getting Kutlani and Kamlashi away at 12 and 13. They look like they can find gaps at will in the Jansen backline. So it's a Selborne put in. They're 7 or 8 meters out. Who is Fenter going to be targeting here? It goes right to the back and there's nobody marking it. Off the back it goes into the hands of Rust. Rust makes a few hard yards. Back into the hands of Connellan. Flip off the inside. Manages to find the hands of Grant Meyer. But the refs decided that little sleight of hand slip out of the back of the hand actually went forward. Cool idea and creative, inventive rugby. And I guess you can forgive that in the fact that they're busy taking adventurous decisions on the field.
Absolutely. What's critical for Jansen now is to forget about the scoreline and to play between set piece and set piece and try and win the battle there. And naturally, things will start happening for them. Jansen, Selborne, the little inside passes. These you'll take a chance when the scoreboard stands as it is. But for Jansen, they look for a decent exit here. But given the scoreline, they may be tempted to run it from their own line.
So scrum reset ordered by Graziano Pinar. Pool of referees working on rotation here. The way that it works, if you ref a game, you immediately go into the touches they are for the next game. That's why you'll see Quinton van Rensburg, who refereed the opening game, running the touch on the far side. So third reset being ordered. In fact, there's an injury to the Jansen team, so this won't upset the Selborne boys. They're going to be happy to play the remaining 18 minutes of this half at their own tempo. Ref Pino's decided he's going to have none of that. None of that tomfoolery. He wants this game to resume. And the way this tournament is set up at the moment, there's absolutely no fat in the program because there's 6 games back to back. You really don't want any of these games to roll out. So Jansen with a put in. They're 7 meters away from their own try line. It's a super scrum from Selborne. Big left shoulder. That's got Jansen backpedaling, and it's a terrible ball back to Schwartz. Schwartz in all sorts of trouble. It goes over the back, and that's going to be an attacking 5 meter scrum to Selborne. Well, Jansen, we said earlier that the strength was going to be in their set piece. They got monstered there.
Absolutely, and you'll see the pats on the backs from the Selborne backs to their forwards, and from here they'll definitely look to, I think, take the ball up, perhaps with their 12, quick ball of second phase, and possibly score in the corner for Miles Norton on the right wing. Let's have a look-see.
Must say the Meyer Nieuwenhuizen combination in the second row for Selborne is functioning really well, and they are getting progressively better. The confidence is definitely growing here. So, ball to the back now. Connellan takes the ball as the second reaver. It's Kutlani who picks up the ball and goes crashing over. And we were just talking about the flair between 12 and 13. So, it's a second try. It's Sibahle Kutlani. And it's just reward, because if you look at the try scorers in this game, you're going to see the rewards going to the flair of the backs here. Kutlani really exciting, and it'll be an exciting opportunity for Kamlashe to try and get his name on the score sheet, because they look full of running. Big guys, as you often get out of the Eastern Cape. It's become a breeding ground for really big athletic backs who've got super hands. You've seen them coming out of schools like Dale College as well, and it's a thrill to be able to see these youngsters coming through the ranks. Remember, the Kearsney Easter Rugby Festival on its final day will conclude with the awarding of bursaries to the Sharks Academy, as David Kutzer bangs over the conversion, and the scoreline is beginning to build here. It's looking ominous for the EG Jansen boys. They started the second half really well. They got themselves back into the game beautifully. Their forwards rumbled over a try, but they've allowed that momentum to slip out of their fingers, and Selborne simply have got back to doing what they do best. So as I mentioned, the bursaries awarded to the Sharks Academy. Players like Terem Tembu will tell you that has been a career game changer for them. So kick off from EG Jansen, they decide to go long, right down into the 22, into the hands of Grant Meyer. Meyer manages to find Connellan, spreads it to his backs, full of running. Oh, it just doesn't go to hand. Refs decided that one went forward off the fingertips of Kamlashe. So an attacking scrum for Jansen. They're going to have to keep this simple here. They've got 15 minutes left in the game. They're not going to be able to pull back the 30-point deficit. What they do need to do is to get their tails up. They need to extract as much positive news out of this game going into the remaining 2 games of the tournament, and they've got to back their big men here.
Absolutely, they've got the last 15. What they'll look to get out of the game from here on in is a bit of momentum going into the next game. They'll look for some performances from individual players. For Selborne, it's a matter of, besides the one try conceded, trying to keep a clean sheet from here on in.
So EG Jansen on the attack. That's another sloppy pass. Just fails to find Van Eden outside the 22, but they managed to recycle it. Klaassen with the ball, trying to make some headway into that key piece of real estate in the Selborne 22, but Selborne managing to hold that ball up. Ball manages to go down to the ground. Kutsia, who's on as the replacement scrum half, trying to extract some quick ball there, but the Selborne defence is holding resolute. EG Jansen trying to make some headway into the 22. This time it's Breitel getting straight through, and it's a great confidence-building try. Franco van Eyden managing to find a gap in the Selborne defence, and that's close to the poles. It'll be able to get them into double figures, and with 13 minutes to go in the game, it's an opportunity for them to assert themselves.
Absolutely, and a shift in game plan slightly. The try there coming after as the result of a bit of interplay between the players. The route one bash up carry is just not going to work, and it's just going to exert too much energy from the Jansen boys. So more of the same in the last few minutes.
Ruben Beitel is on the field for EG Jansen as well. He came into this tournament with the number 10 jersey in his hands, and there was a little bit of spark from Beitel which made a difference. Managed to find that into the hands of Van Eden, and good news for EG Jansen. Conversion is spot on target as well. Kicking has been good in blustery, windy conditions here at Stockfield. So that's 2 converted tries to the credit of EG Jansen. 13 minutes remaining in this match. David Kutzer, the skipper of Selborne, to restart. 12 minutes isn't going to be enough for EG Jansen to threaten the lead that Selborne have earned themselves. Selborne forward slightly ahead of the ball, but the referee's going to allow that to play into the hands of big Wesley Nuth, who's made a big impact since he's come on for Eche Jansen. The Boksburg boys now are desperate to try and maintain the momentum that they've managed to secure by scoring that try. And again, there's Beitel. We mentioned that he's made an immediate impact since he's come back on into that number 10 slot, and it's obvious he's a scrum half, feeds the ball up quickly. He's certainly managed to spark a revival to the back line. Beitel once again at scrum half, feeding the ball up, looking in the blind side. Eche Jansen with their tails up. Ball being effectively slowed down. They're trying to work their way into the half of Selborne, and they managed to do that. They're 17 meters in. Ball manages to elude the grasp, but manages to go backwards in the same time, so Eche Jansen retained possession. It's going to be a put in to Eche Jansen exactly on the halfway line. Keegan Verlotska carrying the ball forward very effectively. Ruben Beitel with the ball in hand. He's a live wire at number 10. Some late changes to the Selborne team with 11 minutes to go in the game. So Thomas Burzy, slight of frame, great opportunity for him to show what he's got as a replacement scrum half for Selborne. But it's going to be Dion Coetzee putting in the ball for Eche Jansen. Goes into the hands of Beitel. Beitel manages to find some space. Great run on the outside. Eche Jansen now. Suddenly the wind is behind them. Charge from Coetzee. They're 2 or 3 meters out from the 22. Referee Pienaar says it's a penalty taken early, not from the correct spot. And referee Pienaar will quite rightly have a word to a very enthusiastic Beitel who couldn't resist the little comment back to referee Pienaar. And it's one of the things that the coaches are going to hammer into their charges at this stage. Whatever you do, respect the ref. This is schoolboy rugby, and that is a core ethic. So they've decided to kick for touch. They're going to have the put in exactly on the 22. 10 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. It's a super lineup from the Eche Jansen boys. It goes back to Beitel at scrum half, making good headway. Kukamoor manages to find some space. Kukamoor is a meter out, and the pass just doesn't go to hand. Nuth, who's been such a live wire for them since he's come on, can't take the catch, and they suddenly find themselves on the 10. Walters with the ball. Touchline could win this one. The flag does go up. The Selborne defenders managed to bundle the Eche Jansen attackers out over the touchline. We're now into the final 10.
Far too easy there for Jansen. It's something that Selborne coaches will possibly mention in a video session following this game. But we've just seen how Selborne are able to pounce on errors and exit pretty well. And that's, at the end of the day, it's possibly been a point of difference between the two teams.
So Selborne on the breakout, they managed to run their way out of their 22, looking for quick ball. Grinding out over the 10, and there goes Coetzee, the captain. Referee Pienaar spotted that, went forward, spot on the money. A big high five for Coetzee. He's a real talisman for this team, in addition to being the skipper. It's a great vibe around the Selborne team as well. More changes coming as we head into the final 7 or 8 minutes. Umlombo Zwelendaba coming on in 22. He's going to be slipping into the back line. Let's see how they retool their back line. Looks like he's going to go into the right wing position. And it's Jason Robenheimer, who's had a good game for Selborne. He's heading for the bench. Gets a well-deserved round of applause from the Selborne spectators sitting in the stands. Always a big contingent of the East London mums and dads that makes the trip up to Durban. And I know from previous years they make a great long weekend out of it. Durban this Easter long weekend doesn't have a Sharks fixture, so for the first time in many years there's going to be no competition on Saturday afternoon for the rugby fans' attention. So we're expecting a really good crowd as the wind picks up here at Stotfield. You can see the leaves blowing across the field. Eche Jansen on the attack. Into the Selborne half they go. It's a chip through, but the Selborne defence is looking good. They've managed to cough up possession. It goes out. It's going to be an Eche Jansen put in 7 or 8 meters outside the 22. Eche Jansen suddenly looking very bullish. Coetzee puts the ball into the line out. They recycle quick ball. It's looking good for Klaassen. Spreading the ball wide. It's one of the rare occasions they've managed to move that all the way down the back line. They've managed to work their way into the Selborne 22. Good quick ball for Jansen. Looking to spread it once again. They've got numerical advantage there. The Selborne defence is looking leaky. And it's into the hands of Beitel. Beitel manages to spread it wide. Ball just doesn't go to hand. It does go to hand. Referee Pienaar adjudicates it. That stayed in hand all the way through. And Jansen are finishing this half on a high.
Well, where have they been all this game? This silky skills and handling from Jansen has been mightily impressive in the last few minutes. And we've mentioned the 2 number 10s on the field as being playmakers, but clearly there's a skill set across the back line and indeed the whole team.
Just under 7 minutes left to run on the clock. And Jansen, after being scoreless in the first half, have put away 2. And if they can convert this, it'll take them into the 20s, and it's certainly going to make their margin of defeat in this game an awful lot more satisfying than the margin they were faced with at half-time. So Dwayne Fourie pushes that one way right. It's going to land up on the tent of the VIP enclosure here. And it's going to remain a 31-19 lead to Selborne.
Just over 6 minutes left in this encounter. Selborne College leading Jansen 39 points to 19.
So I think the Jansen coach and management will have learned something about their team structure. The changes they've rung in the second half have certainly had the desired effect. Good hanging kick to start the play once again. And it's big number 8, Kukumur, carrying the ball forward. He's been very positive for Jansen throughout this game. Beitel at scrum half. Advantage to Selborne. Can they capitalize on this? They've been so good on the counter. It's Kutsa who picks it up out and wide. Kutsa still on his feet, carries the ball into the Jansen 22. Still on his feet, and he's got support from the forwards. They're going to need to release this one and play it. They're being held up at the moment. The referees decided that it was an Jansen knock-on originally, and that didn't constitute enough advantage for Selborne. So they're going to come back for the Selborne put-in, a metre or 2 outside the 22 of Jansen. 5 minutes to run. Have they got a set phase? Selborne has got such a great, long-standing rugby tradition. They're one of the oldest schools in East London. An awful lot of pride in their black and white jersey. As you saw the word being whipped forward from Captain David Kutsa at 10, they've got a plan for this. Super attacking platform almost in the middle of the field. The whole back line is lining to the left. Replacement scrum half Bursey decides it's going to go to Kukumur. Out to Kamlashe. Kamlashe gets held up short. Goes back to Kutsa. Kutsa's got space in front of him. Kutsa's going to go all the way. Ref is going to consult his AR. The AR was watching that like a hawk. Let's see what he says to him. The required conversation is going on. Referee's awarded the try. I thought it was good. David Kutsa gets another try. Super effort from the fly half.
Kutsa definitely a player full of class. The one thing that stands out about him is he seems to have so much more time than other players on the field, and that's a lot to do with his vision and positioning. He seems to see the next phase before it happens, and he seems to have taken a knock there, but after that sort of effort, I'm sure he'll be able to walk it off.
Young Thomas Bursey's been good since he's come on as a replacement scrum half as well. He was responsible for finding that first half gap that eventually set David Kutsa away. Each of the coaches takes delivery of a CD of their team's performance here, and when they have a look at that CD after the game, the Jansen management will be concerned about the gaps in their defence. So one of the things they're going to have to work on overnight and look at that defensive structure, because when Kutsa got away, he had a truck big enough, a gap big enough to drive a Mack truck through. They did their level best to scramble that and try and push him over the touch line. It's a rock solid looking conversion from the try scorer himself. You know, we talked about the similarities simply in posture and physique between Brent Russell and David Kutsa, but he's got that same all-round game to him as well. So he'll be thrilled with his game. He's been the dominant player, and he's certainly made some great decisions and showed a lot of experience and composure at captain. So 2 minutes 45 to go. Jansen to restart this game. Ball goes straight into the hands of Ridge Selling. Consolidates neatly. Bursey, who's been a real talent for Selborne since he's come on as the replacement 9. And there's an urgency about the Selborne team. Even though there's only 2.5 minutes left to go, they certainly want to try and get back onto the score sheet. The chip through doesn't quite work as planned. There was a great follow through, but it goes into the EG Jansen players, staying on their feet to make sure that they can retain possession. Down on the grandstand side of the field, the AR's got a flag out, so it looks like we might have a key decision in the closing minutes of this game. Referee Pino hasn't seen it though. He's ruled play on. EG Jansen in possession. It's Kutsia carrying the ball forward. Opportunity to spread here. Looking for gaps. It's big number 4 MacArthur, the try scorer, making the hard yards. He's decided that there wasn't enough advantage accruing there. They weren't back 10. AR still got his flag out there. He's decided that there's not going to be significant time, and the referee hasn't spotted it here. In the modern technology of televised games, he could have whispered into the ref's ear, but that's not a function here. EG Jansen determined to close out this match on a high. They've kicked for touch. They've made 5 or 6 meters into the Selborne 22. The last time they scored when they desperately needed to regain momentum in this match, they built it off set phase peeling off the back of the line out, and I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to be doing again. Ball goes into number 2. It's a great clean take. Forwards packed down. They're trying to get some rumble going forward. Selborne have been very effective when it's come to splitting the EG Jansen rolling ball, and it's exactly what they've done here. Referee Pino is going to be awarding a free kick 15 meters in for a line-out infringement. So with less than a minute to go on the clock, what is EG Jansen? It's a tap and go. Down to 12 it goes. Klaassen with the ball. It's messy. The knock-on is going to surrender possession. And you can just hear the groans of frustration. So with just seconds to go in this game, Selborne will be slowing the game down, looking to exit their own 22. 46-19. It's been an enterprising game. We're looking for adventure and enterprise, and there's been plenty of it, and particularly in the rejigged EG Jansen team in the second half. Enough positives for them to extract from this game.
Absolutely, and if the Jansen coaching staff are going to look at the glass half full, they haven't been outclassed yet. It's just a matter of simple elementary errors that have just crept into their game. The number of times that they've just had scoring opportunities and lost the ball. If they had converted those, it could be a completely different scoreline.
So the electronic timer on the scoreboard here at Stotfield at Kearsney College clicks down to 0, so this should be the last movement of the match. Fantastic start for Selborne College. You've been such loyal supporters of this game. The only school to have attended all 10 editions of the Kearsney Eastern Rugby Festival. There's a great deal of competition to get onto the bill here at Kearsney, and Selborne have taken advantage of that every year. And you can see with the sort of, and it's a really messy clear up, and the ball gets scrambled over the line. Referee Pinos decided there was a knock on there. And that's the final whistle. Victory going the way of Selborne College by 46 points to 19. An impressive showing from the East London team, and the Boksburg team will have to go back to the drawing board for match 2 on Saturday.
Absolutely, and Selborne have certainly put down a marker here on the standard expected. We saw a great result from Drosti in the first game. Selborne almost bettering that, and it's going to definitely make for interesting reading on day 2.
It's going to be exciting looking forward to the Selborne team, because they've got an engine room which is built around Big Locks, Meyer and Nivenhuizen, who are providing, even though the line-out are going to need some work. They were creaky at line-out time. But in particular, once that ball gets through the hands of David Kutzer, their skipper and fly half, and they've got the flair of Kutlani and Kamlashe at 12 and 13, plenty to look forward to here. So a great debut at this year's tournament by the East London boys, walking out handsome winners here over EG Jansen.